call this meeting of the South Redford Board of Education together at 6:32. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda, would you call the roll, please, Mr. Winston?
Yes. Amanda Flesher,
Present.
Lori Hicks,
Present.
AJ Johnson, absent. Misha Early,
Present.
Cheryl Flesher,
Present.
Daniel Winston, present, and Shirley Towler.
Present. Next item on the agenda is approval of agenda. Are there no corrections? The agenda will be as written. Next item on the agenda is Superintendent Communications, Mr. Bond.
Thank you, Madam President. I have several communications this evening. Special thanks are in order to our own administrator, Beth Harris, for once again her outstanding work with career technical education. Thanks to her ongoing efforts, we once again have been selected as the recipient of the Margaret Dunning Foundation grant to the tune of $55,000. So thanks to Beth's ongoing efforts, these dollars will certainly assist us with purchasing additional items that will enhance the automotive experience for our career technical education students that are a part of that program. Additionally, speaking of career technical education, on January 30th, we had the opportunity to host Dr. Michelle Harmala, Deputy Superintendent of the Michigan Department of Education for the Division of Educator Excellence, Career Technical Education, Special Education, as well as Administrative Law. And Dr. Harmala would like to share the following with the Board of Education. It was an absolute pleasure to tour the facility of the Brian Galdis Innovation Center and meet your students and staff. We all know how important it is to support our young people in attaining their life goals, and it is clear the students were pleased with the engaged level of preparation that they are encountering for their futures. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with all of you, inclusive of the Board of Education Vice President, Ms. Misha Early, during our lunch together at the Nest. I also appreciate the opportunity to reconnect with Chef Tony, as he is a wonderful teacher of hospitality and tourism and culinary, and I always appreciated his support for all of our students when we worked together many years ago in Wayne Westland Community Schools. She wishes us our continued success on behalf of our students, and she would like us to share her appreciation with the entire Board of Education, but also particularly for the time that Vice President Misha Early carved out that day as well. Additionally, would like to thank our two kindergarten teachers from Jefferson Elementary School, Jody Fabian as well as Kathy Bastine. Thanks to their grant efforts, Jefferson has began successfully piloting the Pets in the Classroom program initiative, which is benefiting Jefferson Elementary School students. And then also, it is a proud honor for 3 of our graduating seniors that deserve to be recognized for earning their Michigan Seal of Biliteracy. This is a special distinction that is awarded only to students who demonstrate extremely high levels of proficiency in both English as well as another world language. Congratulations are in order to Ashley Sanchez Mendoza, Leslie Neary, and Perla Manzo for achieving this incredible distinction, which highlights the strength and value of multilingualism in our community. Their achievement would not be possible without the efforts of 2 of our teachers, Mr. Sean Salmonen as well as Jennifer Toy. Thanks to their efforts, these 3 students have earned this notable achievement. The seal will appear on their high school diplomas as well as their transcripts, and it will also be celebrated on the evening of May 29th in the Dr. Weber Auditorium at Thurston High School for Senior Honors Awards Night. So congratulations to those 3 students for earning this distinct honor. And with that, Madam President, that concludes my communications this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next item on the agenda is the board communications. Do I have it?
To the chair?
Yes.
I have 2 things to communicate.
Okay.
The first one is from Kathy Woods, and it's in regards to the foundation, and she wanted me to read this to the board. Scholarship application deadline is May 17th at midnight. The foundation is working with Thurston Alumni Association on a fundraiser from May 6th to May 9th. It is a poker event at Wild Lake All-Stars Lanes from 11 to 6. The foundation is in the beginning of developing a Christmas extravaganza for the community. More details will be presented as the event is developed. And the next foundation meeting is May 22nd at 12 noon, and that's from Kathy Woods. And also, the board scholarship information was due, but there was a glitch and it wasn't sent out to the students. So I have extended it, working with Chris, we extended it 2 more weeks, and they're gonna push it out and get that information out to our students.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any other board communications? Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience, topics related to the agenda. There are none. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the consent agenda?
For the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have support? Support. It's been moved by Mrs. Fletcher, supported by Mrs. Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 6 ayes, 0 nays. Next item on the agenda is the presentation of Pierce Middle School. Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Principal Jackson, Assistant Principal Duperrin, as well as several Pierce staff members that are here this evening. And so with that, I will turn it over to them.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So first, we would like to, of course, welcome you to the Pierce Middle School data report out at this board meeting. I am Anissa Jackson, which you all know, and my partner over here who's trying to hide behind the boards. Elizabeth Duperrin. And so we are going to jump right in. Elizabeth. You were trying to hide.
No, I was trying to stand in front of it. So this is a slide that you guys have seen before, the big rocks of South Redford, relationships and responsiveness, safety, and curriculum instruction and assessment. This just shows how the 3 rocks correlate with the MyKIPS district strategies. So relationships and responsiveness connects with safe, nurturing environment for all and families as supportive partners. Safety connects with a safe and nurturing environment for all, and curriculum and instruction and assessment connects with having a guaranteed viable curriculum, which our science people are going to talk a little about tonight, high quality instruction and assessment evidence.
So I will jump right in. We will start with our 2024 ELA data and for MSTEP as well as PSAT. It is with pleasure that I report this data this year, considering last year's presentation. I wasn't the happiest about reporting the data, and it didn't belong to me directly. So, as we look at grade 6, our 2024 MSTEP proficiency was 20%, which from 2023 was an increase of 1%. However, what this slide does not show is the percentage of 5th graders, because that's what we really want to look at, those students and where they were in proficiency the year before, because those are the students that are coming to us that now 20% are proficient. So when you look at 7th grade M-STEP proficiency in reading, you can see in 2023, 19% of our 6th grade was proficient. However, those 6th graders become our 7th graders, and for 2024, 31% are proficient. And when we look at our PSET, which is taken by our 8th grade students, again, looking from the previous year, 2023, where we had the 19% 7th grade, those 7th graders became 8th grade, and 52% were proficient on their PSAT. Now going to our math, and we acknowledge that math does need a little additional work. However, we have still seen growth here. Our 6th grade 2023 was at 7%. And so again, looking at 2024, 15% of our 6th graders were proficient. And again, noting we do not show the 5th graders to see what their proficiency rate was as 5th graders. But at 6th grade last year, we did have 15% proficient. Our 7th graders had 13% proficiency. So again, looking at 6th grade, 7% of those 6th graders from 2023 were proficient, and those 6th graders becoming 7th grade, 13% were proficient. And looking at 8th grade for PSAT again, as 7th graders, there were 12%, and that's 12% became 17% as 8th graders. So we have shown an increase across reading and math in our proficiency. Looking at science and social studies. And keep in mind, when we presented last year, we were talking about science and social studies is only taken in 5th and 8th grade for 5th, 8th, and 11th. So our students last year, if memory serves me correctly, did not take it during their 5th grade year. So when we look at our 2024 M-STEP, our science proficiency was 23%. Our social studies proficiency was at 20%. So from the last time these students were exposed to science and social studies M-STEP, we have shown an increase. So this is our data analysis, and I do believe this goes back over. Or is this me? Oh, lucky you. So here's what. We have increased our ELA M-STEP in grade 6, a significant increase in grade 7, ELA 12%. We have shown an increase in our PSAT 8th grade by 19%. Our ELA 2023 cohort of students in grade 6 and 7 both showed increases in our 2024 data. We had a significant increase in M-STEP grade 6, math 7%, and a slight increase in our grade 7 math. We increased in our math PSAT 8 by 4%. Our math 2023 cohort of students in grade 6 and 7 showed increases in 2024 as well. And we had a significant increase in our science at 7% and social studies at 12%. So what now? We are continuing building a positive culture and climate, inclusive of alternatives to suspension, our positive behavior intervention support, including our house system, focusing on character traits. I don't have it on this slide, but it is on another slide. We have our matrices now, the collective school-wide matrix in the main hallway, as well as the classroom matrices and matrices in every part of the building, reflective of that area in the building. So now what? What's next? We will continue to rebuild culture and climate with our PBIS assemblies, continuing again with the school-wide and class matrices, and implementing CHAMPS. We will continue to meet the mental health needs of our staff as well as our students. Our master schedule this year had a double period ELA and double period math, so we can continue to push the needle of achievement. We have academic interventions that are now in class with math and ELA with small group instruction. We have intervention class with Read 180. We have after-school tutoring, as well as homework clinic. We have grade level teaming. So this year we were able to have our staff team with a common prep so that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade could meet collectively. We are looking at continuously looking at our alternatives to suspension with after-school detention and other ways to keep students in school. We are continuing to examine and review our current and future curricula, as you will hear soon from our science department, and as we did last year when we presented for ELA. We are continuing family engagement, thanks to our PTO for being present tonight with our PTO meetings, parent nights. We will have summer school again with an emphasis on core curricula, so students that did not do well in their core classes during the school year will be invited to attend. We will continue with our Plus Delta with staff around school decisions, and we have also implemented common grade book practices.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I have a question. What is CHAMPS?
CHAMPS is a behavior management system, and each letter stands for something different. So C is conversation, H is help, A is activity, M is movement, P is participation, and S is for success.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Elizabeth.
So going back to the big three, the South Redford big three rocks that we're focusing on, they lend themselves well to Maslow's hierarchy. We know that if kids' psychological needs are not met, if their basic needs are not met, they can't get to a place at the top of the triangle where they're ready and available for learning. So we have to move through all of those pieces to get them to a place where they can learn. Our three rocks in the district relate to those, since those are our three relationships and responsiveness, safety, and curriculum instruction and assessment are exactly what our goals are in the district. So they blend well with Maslow's hierarchy. We have a lot of support for our students at Pierce. So we have counselors who do one-on-one counseling, groups. So they're meeting with kids based on specific needs, like social groups, kids who need a little bit of help socializing, groups like grief and loss, different kinds of groups that students can join. PBIS specialized committees. Our committees are parent involvement, sunshine, which is spreading sunshine around the building, also taking care of things when they're needed, if there's a baby born or something like that. Fundraising, assembly planning, PBIS data and analysis, and student incentives. We have monthly house meetings, so the kids are broken into 3 houses, but those 3 houses are a blend of 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we have meetings monthly, and at those meetings there are rewards for different things. We focus on culturally and emotionally responsive teaching. We have monthly students of the month by grade level teams, and including the self-contained classes, along with teacher of the month. We have grade level teaming, which Anissa spoke to. The intervention course, Read 180, that's really small group instruction for kids who really need a lot of extra assistance and support in reading. Math and language arts are doing a lot of small group instruction with the double block time. And then professional learning led by teachers. We often have teachers bringing to professional learning and staff meetings, different things that they're doing that are working really well. And we have a lot of different clubs and activities. I think Josh just started Garden Club, we have Spanish Club. Oh, it's all on the slide, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. We have been using PBIS and restorative practices at Pierce for a long time, and I feel like we're at the place now where they're kind of working themselves. So again, in PBS we have house points. The students can gain points for their house, and then they can purchase things with their points. The Eagle stores where they purchase things, they can order things like snacks and school supplies, and then they're delivered. Monthly celebrations of students, and then monthly staff recognition. So we brought back something that we did a long time ago when Christine was around, where each we have 5 different awards for teachers, and the person who has the award now, next month, we'll give it to another staff member based on whatever the topic is. And I think there's sunshine, curriculum, leadership, so we have 5 of them. Restorative practices, we are still using restorative practices. I'm going to skip to the second bullet because the proactive work is really what needs to happen so that everything else flows well. So teachers are working on community building, we work on it as a building. And then when there is conflict, we do mediations. We spend time talking about what harm happened and how we can repair the harm. And then moving on, and often kids come in and it's a lot of with social media and cell phones and text messaging. Usually it's something that's misconstrued or misrepresented, and when the kids get together and talk, really there's no problem between them and they move on without having any sort of physical conflict or anything else like that. So restorative is working really well. So our suspension numbers from 23, 24, and 25, we had in 23, 71 students in the month of March that were suspended. In 2024, the number was 12, and in 25, it was 13.
And if I can add, what you see in your packet is slightly different because we noticed that there was a discrepancy after this was forwarded to Chris. So this is more accurate.
Pat Savoy poured over the data and
Yes.
made sure we were straight on our numbers.
Everybody happy? So where are we now? Culturally and emotionally responsive teaching. We want to continue to make sure that we are making classroom content real world applicable with connections for all students. We want to continue analyzing curriculum to ensure windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors for students, which I will speak to more momentarily before our wonderful science team comes forward. And increasing student voice from our Pierce Middle School students. We found last year when the district was working on the new strategic plan that the students had lots to say. So they continue to remind us how much they have to say. And so it's always good to hear back from them because they are the ones that are being impacted most highly by the decisions that we make. We are continuing professional development with our staff. So this was just a graphic to show that these are all the things that we are continuing to encompass in our continued professional development and making sure that we are focused on our staff continuing to build their own personal practice.
These are just some pictures from this year. The top, David Moy did some work for Black History Month and Women's History Month, and this is a picture from that. There are a few from Halloween. Mr. Edwards did a really fun activity in his room recently with the kids. That was a picture down there of him. The 3 kids at the top are from Students of the Month from a few months ago. So we had some students came to me over break and wanted to have a yearbook. So I started pulling pictures for a yearbook because putting together a yearbook in April is no small feat, and they were relentless. I told them it was a little late and we really can't put a yearbook together. It's just not going to happen this year. Maybe next year we'll try again, and they would not take no for an answer. So in my quest to find pictures for this yearbook that these kids are putting together, these were some pictures that we brought up.
And that picture at the bottom is probably my favorite picture from Halloween this year because as you can see, that is Scooby-Doo and the crew. And each one of them, as you can see, you have Velma, and you have Daphne, you have Shaggy, Fred, and Scooby. And they all, I was like, okay, where's Scooby? Where's Shaggy? I need you all to come together so I can get one picture.
And those kids they all go to Thurston for Algebra 1, so they all walked in. When I was dropping Claire off, I was watching them all get out of the car to go into Thurston for first hour. It was fun. These are some of our closing sports. National Junior Honor Society has been back for a couple of years. It kind of went away during COVID and it has been brought back, which is great. We have a robotics club. Sterling Felix runs Omega Cheer and Dance. They just won, it was a competition they had this last weekend. There were 35, I think, schools there, and they won first place in the county, so super impressive. They're, if you've never seen them, they're pretty amazing. Student Council, Kings and Queens, esports. The esports team is also undefeated in the county, and they're really rocking out esports. So they play Smash Brothers,
Mario Kart.
Splatoon, and Mario Kart. So esports is like an up and coming thing at the secondary level especially, and so they've gone really far with their teams. They're doing really well. We also have football, volleyball, basketball, swimming, track and field, softball, and wrestling, which our wonderful Coach Crawford over there coaches.
And what's not listed, Coach Crawford also just started the garden club. And so he's teaching students how to garden. And we are offering a multitude of activities for our students. So our current and upcoming work, we will continue to maintain a growth mindset among all our stakeholders. Elizabeth and I don't know it all, so we need the help of a continued partnership. We want to continue to collaborate and coach through observations and feedback. Again, we don't know it all, we learn from one another. We want to continuously promote high behavior and academic expectations, and I apologize for that typo right there. A monthly staff and student recognition has already been stated, and I was trying to remember the other categories for our monthly staff recognition: leadership, curriculum, sunshine, service, and this one I'm missing.
Advocacy.
Advocacy, thank you. So those are the areas where staff are recognized monthly, and they have to take their picture. They can't get out of it, and then we put it on the TVs in the school so that the students can not only see themselves highlighted for the month, but they also see their teachers.
And if you try to get out of it, it doesn't happen.
Absolutely, because somebody tries to get out of it. All right, so we continue to have ongoing professional learning, reevaluation of our current curricula and practices, again, as we will hear momentarily, continuous analysis and understanding of all data, and input from all stakeholders, especially families. And with that, do we have any questions?
To the chair, so this is a question for anyone in the room, but not. We're, great stuff that y'all doing, number one, a lot of great stuff. So we have kids at Pierce, and we're doing these things with them, the testing and the restorative practices. Do we have an understanding of kids who don't know the information and those who have a lot of external things that's keeping them from getting to their, their capacity? Do we kind of know the ones who need to learn how to read and those who know how to read, but they're homeless or they don't have no food at home? Do we kind of have a percentage of that just off the top of your head randomly?
I don't have that percentage randomly, but what I can tell you is we piloted iReady this year, which gave us another data source because that told us what grade level students actually were on from their beginning of the year, mid-year assessments. So that then fed the data for math and ELA to do their small group instruction, because then you could group students accordingly to provide the necessary interventions and try to close that achievement gap.
Because kids who can't read,
Absolutely.
read, so there's nothing they can do, but, so I just wanted to be kind of got an understanding of those who we need to build up and those
Yeah.
who need to help more.
And what's interesting is we had one of our teachers, our ELA teachers, say that a parent was really, thankful for the fact that she was actually told, like, this is the grade level your student has tested on. And it was like, they never heard it from that perspective because, again, you naturally think in middle school, my child is where they need to be.
Right.
And I would add to that too, I know you don't. You're gonna. The fact that we have counselors and social workers that care so much about our kids is and teachers also, but when we get kids coming into counseling and they're getting in trouble or they got kicked out of a class, and we have these people, these mental health professionals that can, take them in and talk to them in a way that's different than the two of us can, that's huge. We have students that sometimes come in and I had a girl today and we had a short conversation about some things that were going on, and then she went and spoke with her counselor, who she already knew and already had a relationship with, and was able to, actually her counselor came out and was like, she taught me something, she showed me this
Right.
app about this mental health app that she's been using, and so I think that that's a piece of it too, is that we have a lot of support in the building with teachers and counselors and Aliza and all of the different, our kitchen people this year,
Yeah.
the last few years have been really amazing, and they're on top of what the
Yeah.
kids are doing, so, it's everybody, the custodial staff, and I think that that's huge too, is that the kids feel like there is a huge support system for them. When you talked about like homelessness and
Yeah.
things that are going on at
Yeah.
home and things like that, they know that there are people in that building that have them.
And if I could give another kudos to our counselors, we have a new counselor this year the students absolutely love, and she does what she calls minute meetings with them. So that allows her to try to get to know her entire caseload. So before Elizabeth's situation today, she had to come into my office and she was like, I just, my minute meeting with him, like, what's going on? So she's able to come in, know the child by name, not just by face, and have these conversations, and everything moves forward. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
The intervention course, is that kind of like the you said the students that need extra help, and so that's what that is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so to piggyback on Daniel, you do have some idea of some of the things that he asked you about.
Yes, so Read 180 is based, the students are placed in Read 180 this past year based upon their NWEA test scores. So when we look at where they fall, then that's how those students are selected.
Good,
And
thank you.
every time we meet with the Read 180 coaches a couple of times. The people that work for the company, they put together all the data for us and they analyze the data and then bring it to us. And every time we meet with them, they have told us that our scores are higher than most of the districts that they work in. So Josh Bizovi teaches that class, and he's doing a really good job.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I am going to switch off with Aliza.
So is this for the peer science curriculum? Okay, all right. That's the next item on the agenda, guys.
Are we doing science or all the above? All the above?
Yes.
The diversification
Yeah,
is
yeah,
impressive,
yeah.
Josh. Noted.
So as my wonderful science team is passing out materials for their classroom tonight, it is with pleasure that I again stand before you and introduce the Pierce Middle School Science Department, less one of our staff. We have Nathan Morgan, who's also our Science Department head, Ashley Hutchings, who's coming back for more materials, and Josh Crawford, who is very gingerly placing his water bottles on the table. So, as mentioned in our previous presentation, we are continuing to analyze and review core curricula. And this year, we are taking a look at science and its alignment to the NGSS standards, the next generation science standards. So on the one slide, we talked about curricula having windows so the students can look out into the world and know what's going on in the world and make it be real world applicable. We talked about mirrors, them being able to look at the curricula and then see the reflection of themselves, and then the sliding glass door, the preparation for them to step out into the world. So this year, our wonderful science department piloted MyStar as a new science curriculum to adopt. So it is with pleasure that I introduce them and let them go from here.
Thank you, Principal Jackson. So we are asking the board to adopt MyStar as our middle school science program. MyStar is a comprehensive science program developed by Michigan Tech University, or I should say developed by teachers along with Michigan Tech University, that is meant to be aligned to the next generation science standards. So we recognize that there is a need for a science program that's going to have students do the type of science that they will see on their MSTEP, that they will need for future learning, and then of course that they will need for future careers in science. And we know that the workforce is becoming more STEM related, and it's estimated that 40% of all jobs when our 6th graders enter the workforce will be STEM related. So we believe that MyStar is that program because it gives students more hands-on opportunities to engage in their learning. We hope to share some of that with you tonight. The program is rigorous. This program is hard, and it's asking students to do more than just learn content, but to become scientists, to practice those science and engineering practices, and to familiarize themselves with those core concepts, those cross-cutting concepts that arch through all of their science and all of their learning. The program includes a lot of data literacy opportunity for students. And like I said, really it shows what they're going to be doing on their standardized testing. They're now doing in the classroom. So we hope to share some of these things with you tonight.
That was Nathan Morgan, by the way, our science department head. Okay, Josh Crawford here, another science guy. You're not supposed to present with gum in, so I'm gonna get rid of that. So what you're about to watch is a video taken in my 8th grade class. And the activity has students exploring traits, how there can be beneficial traits and traits that are actually harmful to an organism. And in the activity, you're going to see students using spoons and forks, and they're going to be collecting beans and marshmallows, and then collecting data, and then eventually we'll have a discussion talking about which one was easier to collect the marshmallows, you know, was there any benefits to having the fork, any benefits to having the spoon, etc. So here you go with that video.
Okay, we're gonna start the next round. Okay, just a reminder, you only have 10 seconds. All right? Only gonna have 10 seconds. Now, starts now. Oh. Gotta keep the cup on the table. Keep the cup on the table. Yep, keep the cup on the table. And time. Time. Now you're going to count up your seeds. Count up your seeds. Okay. Now you got to roll your dice.
So there's also an element of randomness because, you know, life is also random. So, you know, something randomly could happen to cause an animal or organism to survive longer than another organism with the same exact traits. Okay? So pretty engaging there, obviously sometimes the competitiveness of an individual can skew the results a little bit, so I always had to have another chart with what I wanted to happen, to kind of share with them, because, somebody with a fork will somehow get like 27 beans, and that's not supposed to happen. But yeah, so that's one activity. Also over here, we had Ms. Hutchings staged a lab accident. So this is a skeleton dressed in like clothes. It's got a wig. It's hunched over a burner, hand on top of the burner, hairs everywhere. So having our students investigate that scene and identify, what is wrong with this lab set. So teaching lab safety, and obviously it's a lot of fun for the kids. This next video over here is that same activity in Ms. Hutchings' room, and what I really want you to see here is just the excitement and energy that the kids are having with this activity. So just really getting into it.
Some
right?
of them cheat a little bit.
Whatever gave you that idea.
Yeah. Okay, now what's set before you is an activity that I've just done in my class. Now we're learning about the solar system and planetary objects. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna catch up here. Check the time. 9 minutes left. Okay. So you have a student guide in front of you. This MyStar curriculum always has a student guide for the students to go through. The front page is instructions. If you want to just flip over to the other side. Okay, so as students are making observations, let me tell you what's going to happen. You got water in front of you. Okay, you got a spoon. All right, and I'm going to put in some dirt. They asked for perlite, but I didn't have perlite. And as the garden club person, I've got dirt. So, all right. Apologies in advance for any soil that touches your table. Okay, just gonna sprinkle a little out there. All right.
Pass some more, please.
Yeah. Yes. Tell me when.
What dirt I have. Winning.
Yeah.
What dirt?
And obviously, I make a little joke of it in the classroom. Have you tried the dirt this evening? It's on special. All right. So.
Stick.
Yeah. Yeah, probably an old bean sprout that died in this, when I taught summer school, sorry. When I taught summer school a few years ago, because that's how old this dirt is. And don't eat it, even though you got a spoon, you're not supposed to eat what's in front of you. Okay, all right. So, what we're gonna investigate is the formation of the solar system. And there had to have been a force to form the solar system. So there's 4 different forces you're going to investigate. And I don't expect you to record your observations like the students do. I'm not going to collect this for a grade at the end. But we're going to start with number 1, poking. You're just going to poke at the dirt. Poke at the dirt on top with a spoon. Use a spoon, just poke at it. Okay? In different spots. And be thinking about how is it that the soil's moving? Is it starting to collect in any type of way? All right, and thank you. And no, it's just kind of blobbing around is, what you'll hear the kids say. Okay, next one. It says pushing the perlite back and forth. So I described to the kids, it's like you're painting. Just paint up and down, just brush strokes up and down, and describe the movement. How is the soil moving? Anybody want to share?
Dirtier.
With the current. What'd you say?
It's getting dirtier.
Getting dirtier, getting louder. Hopefully there's not too much in there. Okay?
Yeah, it's a lot of
Sinking to the
Yeah.
bottom.
I might have went.
Yeah.
That's a good one, too.
Okay. The third one. Now they're going to ask you to slowly stir. Slowly stir.
That's what stir fast before we put water on the table. I know how to stir them. I
Okay.
know how to start.
And how's the soil moving now?
Slower.
Slower?
Look at
Is it
this.
starting to collect in any certain way?
At the bottom.
Yeah,
At the
at
bottom?
the bottom, yeah.
Okay, off to the sides of the bottom, the center of the bottom, all over the bottom.
Pretty much all over. I can't see that way. It's all dirty.
It's a little cloudy, yeah. Okay, and then now stir quickly. Stir quickly. Without making a mess. Okay?
You're ahead of the class. Stay with the class.
Right.
I was always
Okay.
special. I was always special, they said.
So, and what this is getting to show is that as you stir quickly, you'll notice what?
It's coming together.
It's starting to come together towards the center. So that sparks the conversation of, you know, where do we see, or how is that similar to our solar system? And then it starts to talk about the sun, and we talk about how they have a graphic, the curriculum provided us with a graphic of different beads, and there's 100 beads on the screen, and you ask the students, how many beads do you think make up the mass of the sun? And you get some guesses, and then you reveal to them 99.9% of the entire mass of the solar system is in the sun. And then I did this with I also did this myself with the larger video, a big bucket. Okay, much easier to see. Probably, got a little overzealous with the soil. Okay, I apologize. So it's cloudy, but getting this idea of that spinning force is pulling all of that matter and material towards the center, similar to what we had going on with the sun. So, first step, observe. We have a model to bring a real life example in front of the students, and then you bring out this larger concept where they watch this 2 to 3 minute video, which I have hyperlinked here that we end up watching in class. We don't have to show it right now, but that's something you can go back to and compare the activity in class to what happened, what scientists believe happened with the formation of the solar system. But yes. So, that's what I got for you. And then also, the lesson plan is hyperlinked here if you wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. But that's what I got for you. And I'll start working on the cleanup here.
Hi, I'm Ashley, 8th grade science. So this is our current curriculum. We have content and pictures and diagrams that go along with our content, but it's definitely not allowing the students to practice and analyzing the data that they need for these standardized tests that just keep coming and they keep getting harder. We need to practice our testing stamina and our mental stamina and able to get these scores up. We can't really do that with just diagrams. So what I would like to show you is this is what we've seen. This was in my first unit that I taught with the 8th graders. Just our first unit in the MyStar. We actually have equations that the students have to work out. I had to get out calculators. We have tables that have multiple data. And then we also have various graphs. This is one example. But they also asked the students to build graphs. So I had to go to the math teacher and say, do they know how to build a bar graph? Which is really interesting, but my 8th graders did not know how to build a bar graph. So that's something that I had to actually talk with the math teacher about. Let's get out some rulers. What's the difference between a line graph and a bar graph? And this, to me, is building that math score because these are things that they also need in other classes. So I was really impressed. We were seeing things that I hadn't seen since 9th grade with the 8th graders, and just more practice with this. So the analyzing data is important because we're asking them to write these really profound CERs or claim evidence reasoning, and they don't have a lot of time to do that. But if they're learning how to think on their feet in the classroom, what's going to happen when we get on the test? Practice makes perfect. We're going to get there. So I really like this because it builds building them, and it's built straight to go into the the MSTEP test, which is what I was really excited about. I think I had one more thing I wanted to share really quick. MyStar also worked with NGSS, and they also worked with the Michigan Department of Education to ensure that the assessments were similar to the MSTEP. So not that they just looked at it, they actually sent their materials forward to get reviewed, and they actually made sure they were very similar.
And so I'm hoping you can see just the rigor and the depth of this science program and the engaging aspect of it as well, that we're really asking the students to get involved in their learning and do things. We did follow a comprehensive process in choosing this program before bringing it to you today. So we used these recommendations and these ratings by professional organizations, including NGSS, who makes the standards that students need to meet in middle school. We used a rubric called the EQUIP rubric, which asks us as teachers to then look at the program in all of these different ways to make sure that we're hitting the things that we need to with the curriculum. We piloted we investigated several different programs, taught lessons in our classrooms, not only from MyStar, but we did look at other options. And we decided that this was the best one. And we've been spending the past semester, or the entirety of this year, piloting this program, teaching it in our classes, and we truly believe that this is going to be the best option for our students to move forward, to set them up for success on that stuff.
Question. What was the cons to the program that you guys noted?
Perfect
segue.
Back again.
It's almost
So,
like a kid.
yeah. So this is rigorous, as it was mentioned before, and this program builds on itself. So with us introducing this as a first year for the students, it was somewhat, I don't want to say alarming, but a lot of the kids weren't able to do some of the things they were asking. Some of the standards that are here in MyStar were very new and had to be reviewed or just taught for the first time to our students. So this is an example of what was standard. This is what MyStar expected our students to know. We had to go backwards. So I had to teach them what force vectors were. We had to look at arrows. The bigger arrow means what? If I have a bigger force here versus a larger force, where would it go, or a smaller force? What direction is it going to go in? Then we also introduced a few numbers. So if I had, what is a balanced force? What's unbalanced force? So those are things that MyStar expected the students to know coming into it, and we did it. We had to work backwards. So that took like a day or two, because I had some kids take this home. So then this was the standard. Instead of just giving them this as a standard, this is stuff you were supposed to know, I went ahead and I made this into a quiz. So I highlighted a couple of things, drew some arrows. We had to do a blue arrow for the direction that the object was moving in, and black was the force that was put onto the object. So they had to do a push and a pull on the back of the paper, okay? Then we went back, reviewed it. Why is this correct? Why is this incorrect? Great. So from there, they had, and this was lesson 4. Lesson 5 had them 3 times do pushes and pulls. They had to do a black arrow and a blue arrow. For my room, this was an assessment because it was a lab report, but they had to do this on their own now. So giving them the practice to get all the way over here, because now this is graded, now it's going into the grade book as an assessment versus this was just the standard. So it took us a minute to get there, and that is the thing that we're noticing. We have to move really quickly, and some of our students aren't always able to grasp everything so quickly. So we do have to scaffold. It's not provided. We have to do it by ourselves, and that takes more time. Prepping, grading, content to parents, because we have to go back and read in its entirety what the kids have to learn before we even flush it out. Because how embarrassing is it, or just disheartening for the kids when you start the lesson and they have no clue, so you gotta go backwards. So just a lot of extra planning on our part to make sure that our kids are successful, making sure the misconceptions are out there, practicing it ourselves, and then just pushing it out in a way that is somewhat movement, fast, but then not overloading the students at the same time with the content that they're getting. I think that was it.
So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
programs will give you that stuff.
Mhm.
This one does not. We have to come up with it as teachers. So that's one of the big cons. It doesn't give us the extra stuff that we know that we need.
Question.
for the-
Go ahead. No, they answered my question.
Are y'all okay with that?
You just said segue to my
I-
part.
Okay.
We have a plan. We have a plan.
I did not slip you money or anything. So Elisa Nagel, Howard, secondary curriculum coordinator, instructional coach. How lucky am I that I get to work with these people? Right? They are incredible.
So-
Incredible.
Stop.
I know, really. I feel like I'm constantly just catching up, They're incredible. And so, but my role for either one of those, the coordinator or the coach, is to help with their implementation, with the professional learning that Ms. Jackson and Elizabeth and Mr. Perrin spoke about today. And MyStar did provide professional learning, and it's linked there in the implementation plan. You're welcome to look at it later. Like any program, they tell you, oh, we give you all. There is no perfect program. It does not exist. We anticipated some things. Ashley did a great job of kind of saying, as we went along the way, we realized there were some added things to the teacher's plate, if you will, that they needed to work around. But what I really appreciate about these teachers is they're not just picking a program that matches the NGSS standards. As Nathan talked through the elaborate process that they went through, and everything is linked, I'm going to show you. They have detailed examples for every single part of the rubric that they scored. They didn't kind of look at this. They spent hours in detail looking at this. And as they did that, they said, what we like about this program is how engaging it is and yet rigorous. And because of that, and because it's developmentally appropriate in the sense that it provides the right type of interesting activity, the DIRT is a perfect example. The kids are doing something. Other science programs that we looked at, it was a very long storyline where the kids talked and talked and talked and talked and then did a thing. Well, if you've ever been in a middle school classroom,
Yeah.
you want to do. So these teachers aren't asking for the program that's the easiest for them. They're asking for the program that's the best for their students.
Yeah.
That's why I'm lucky to work with them. So you ask, is it okay with them? It is, but they're going to need a thing. We're going to need some time, maybe some release time every quarter, so they can continue to pre-look at the units and develop the scaffolds and the differentiations to keep the rigor high. Because the last thing we want to do is reduce the rigor.
Right.
We want to keep the ceiling here and build in the supports and the tools to give the right ceiling, or the right floor, pardon me, so we can all get to that high rigorous ceiling. And who's better to do that than our staff? No program, no paid professional developer is going to do that better than our staff, with the resources to support them. They're not having to create every single lesson from scratch, so this frees them up to do that work. So to answer your question, Misha, that is why it's okay. Because we're trusting the professionals to do the right work with the right resources that they chose with a very rigorous vetting process. So with that, did I answer your question,
Yes,
Misha?
you did.
Okay, good. Yep, thank you. So with that, do you have any additional questions?
To the chair.
Yes.
Just one. We don't have the board activity page, the links in our printout.
You know, I apologize, there were some changes made because like any good teacher, you're changing your lesson up until the minute you change it. Sometimes you're changing it halfway through the lesson. So I've been assured that we're gonna get you the PowerPoint tonight, and I've double checked that all the links are like the universal links that anybody can look at, because I do want you to look at that.
Okay.
There's another thing I want you to be able to look at, if you can go to the next slide, is sorry, before I skip to that slide. When we came to you last year for ELA, and thank you, by the way, that is going so well, like my heart just soars. The staff showed up in common gear. They did most of the talking because the right people did the work, the teachers. We replicated that today. It is baseball season, there you go. And we wanted to hit a home run with this. There you go. I know, I tried. So we have I know, right? We have the entire science department behind this. This isn't like, they had to make some hard decisions. I mean, they had some hard conversations. You know, what do we really want for our students? There is 100% consensus on this. So I wanted to point that out, just like last year, because they're the ones that have to teach it. They're boots on the ground. That's why it's important they are a part of this. So if you can now go to the last slide. Thank you, Josh. All of the different things that we talked to tonight, the scored rubric, the implementation plan, the actual NGSS standards are all linked for you there. The last link is the Glenn Literacy Essentials. It's those cross-content essential disciplines. One of them, which is very, very important right now, that Ashley did a great job speaking to, that data literacy part. If you talk to anybody right now, everyone says, oh, AI is going to interpret everything for us. But you still have to be critical at what you're looking at. You still have artificial intelligence.
No, I knew what it
Oh,
was,
okay.
but I was just referring to our Department of Education, calling it A1.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll get some hot sauce for you. Yep. So we need children to be literate in all senses of the word, especially data literate, and that applied math is so important. And that's not us, that's the county, that's the state, the nation saying that our kids need that. And that's another reason why we chose this program over others, because it does a better job of those cross disciplines. I just wanted to point it out, but I want to defer to them and the amazing groups. Yes,
I have one more question.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a child that's not in attendance the day that you're teaching the 4 steps?
Yeah,
We
Josh won.
report.
Yeah.
That's what you saw, Josh's videos and reports, they can go back and look at it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, part of that, I mean, it does take some time to, I always make sure that I have something that a student can watch because, well, I wasn't here, sorry.
Yeah.
But there's a video, so, plus, a day or two passes and you want to bring that, you want to bring that experiment back to the forefront. Hey, let's watch this video again of the spinning, because like I said, I made a video of me doing this with a larger bowl, and you can just see it. I mean, just like you would see a spiral galaxy, you'd see the soil on the ground, on the bottom of the bowl, start to spiral too. And on a much smaller model, that being a con of doing it like this instead of a larger model. And another example I brought into the classroom is to tie into that activity. Talking about if you ever had a pool and you ever made a whirlpool. I know as a child my dad would have us kids get in the pool and get it spinning, and then all the leaves and stuff would collect at the bottom, and then go with the skimmer because we just collected all the dirt and stuff right in the center. But anyways, yeah.
You didn't know you were a human experiment?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That, the GELN, what did you say that was?
It's if you want to go ahead and open it up.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the General Education Leadership Network. It's a network of educators. It's both Michigan and there's a national component. And if you can see on the tabs here, it's
Yeah.
where they've taken those competencies or literacies and put them all across the different content areas. So what does this look like in social studies? What does this look like in math that way? And our our science teachers rather, looked at this in addition to the NGS standards to make sure that it was a good fit. And our ELA teachers did the same thing last year when they looked at Amplify. Because, we shouldn't have these things in silos, should we? Learning is interconnected, and that's how our children learn best. So why wouldn't we encourage that in the programs and the resources that we choose to adopt? So it's really important that we keep coming back to this as we do our work. Great question.
Any other questions?
To the chair?
Yes.
I just have just a comment. To see the enthusiasm of your team,
Yes.
it's wonderful. It makes me want to go back and experience this level of learning in science.
Yes.
It's wonderful, so I applaud each and every one of you for your commitment. Send us a message. We'd like to get,
Yes.
She's an
I
amazing
wouldn't mind at
volunteer.
all.
Yes.
It's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
So I would just like to close out unless you have another question.
Yes, I don't have a question. I'd just like to commend you guys for, like when you said, the bar graphs and you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't had to actually go through that. And I commend you guys so much because you took the time to say, okay, we've got to get to this point and we got to teach you to do this. And I love that. Thank you so much. Yes.
So I actually was just saying, you just gave me my segue to say again how great our science department is, and hopefully you see how the MyStar is actually interconnected across curricular with the math, it's cross curricular with literacy because they have to do the writing, and then, we're trying to keep it all rigorous at grade level and making sure that our students are exposed to grade level content so we can continue to see increases in our scores, as you saw from the first presentation. And Nathan can attest that about every couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, as he walks by, come on in here, let's have a conversation. How is this going? I need to know how are students, grasping and, moving forward, because we do know this is grade level and it has a level of rigor that I did not see in the science curriculum when I arrived last year. So, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
take my arms off the table, the water's good.
Okay, guys, we're gonna take a 15-minute break. And you guys. 7:37. I call this meeting back to order at 7:54. Next item on the agenda is consider Adams, Fisher, Jefferson, and Vandenberg furniture project. Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, Madam President. At the board meeting on March 24th, 2025, the board discussed the Adams, Fisher, Jefferson, and Vandenberg Elementary School furniture project. Bids were solicited and received for the work. The companies that are recommended for the work required are listed below in the board packet, and the award of $460,703.56 will be paid for out of the 2021 bond. Madam President, the resolution is attached for board consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
To the chair,
Yes,
I move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
it's been moved by Mrs. Fletcher. Do I have a support? Support. It's been supported by Mrs. Early. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? 0 nays. 6 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda, consider Thurston High School Specialty AV Project.
Thank you, Madam President. At the same board meeting on March 24th, 2025, the board discussed the Thurston High School Specialty AV project. Bids were solicited and received for the work. The companies that are recommended for the work required are Sound Planning Communications for $171,454, and Sound Planning Communications for $41,012, and a 10% contingency, total expenses not to exceed $233,713 is requested to cover any unforeseen costs associated with the project. This bid award would also be paid for out of the 2021 bond proceeds. Madam President, a resolution is attached for board consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move the adoption of the following resolution.
It's been moved by Mrs. Early. Do I have a support? Support. It's been supported by Mrs. Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
6 ayes, any nays? 0 nays, resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider superintendent evaluation tool. Ms. Early.
Do I have to read this?
Yes.
The Board of Education is using the Collins and Blaha PC evaluation instrument for superintendents, which allows the board to evaluate the district superintendent's performance. On May 13th, 2024, the board adopted a resolution renewing the use of Collins and Blaha PC evaluation instrument for superintendents. South Redford School District's Superintendent Evaluation Committee, consisting of myself, Misha Early, Daniel Winston, and Anthony Johnson, is recommending the continuation of the superintendent evaluation tool from Collins and Blaha PC. I know we talked a little bit about it at the last meeting. Is there anything else that anybody has to say or suggestions or anything? Keeping in mind that we will be doing another evaluation in January to go into, so we can be in line with.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
Yeah, my mouth is full.
Okay. It's been adopted by Mrs. Hicks,
Second. Support.
supported by Mrs. Early. All in favor?
Aye.
6 ayes, Any nays, 0 nays, resolution adopted. Oh, talk about, did you say about the date?
No,
Or when we gonna do that?
we plan to do, you know, we have to do it before June 30th, so we have 2 dates available in May. I can't see, I think it was the 12th and
12th and the
19th.
19th.
I really can't. So, you'll see something about those dates.
Crystal sent out. Best date. Okay. Next item on the agenda is discuss board's mission and vision statement. And I guess that's me, I believe. The board will review and discuss the board mission and vision statement. Okay, so I would like us to think about, we have in front of us the mission statement from our new strategic plan and the vision statement. It's been broken down, both the vision, the mission and the vision. So what I'd like the board to do is think about if we want to reuse our mission statement and just add the part of the mission statement, but we do need to do both the vision and the mission. So I would like to do a special workshop in June for that. So what I'll do is get with Chris and we'll send out to the board what will be the best days in June, because I'd like to get that done. Our strategic plan was approved in July, and I'd like to get that done before we go on our break.
To the chair?
Yes?
We usually do our mission and vision statement after we've done our board evaluation, and they all come together with the goals.
Yeah, well, right now,
I think it would be really advantageous to us in doing it backwards. We'd have to repeat it if we haven't even done our own evaluation, establishing our goals, and we're gonna just pull up mission statement or vision statement. And I also know we have 2 board members that will be gone for a period of time in June.
That's me.
oh, okay,
I have a wedding out west.
okay. Well, we haven't quite decided what we're gonna do for the board evaluation yet. So what I'd like to do is get the mission and vision statement together. Yes, we can do our goals, but I don't wanna wait until, after September to even consider doing it. So what will, and I'd like to say this, so, a lot of boards don't even do board evaluations, and it's not that we always do, that we can't do a board mission statement and vision without doing the board evaluation. So, when are you gonna be gone?
I will be leaving June 6th and not coming back till about the 22nd.
Okay. Well,
And to the chair, Amanda's representing the family the week of the 17th, 15th, 17th, that week. they're putting my mother and father to rest
Okay.
at sea that week. So she's representing the family, so she won't be there. She's going in my
Well,
place.
if we do it the last week, the last board meeting in June,
That'll still be before I leave or come back.
will it? Okay, well, we'll figure it out,
Okay.
okay?
Safe travels. Safe travels.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. Topics.
We have none. We have none. No comments.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is Plus Delta. Who's doing Plus Delta?
Madam President, what processes supported the board's work this evening?
Are there any?
To the chair?
Yes?
I always appreciate when the curriculum comes from the middle school because they always have like a long list of things that they've done to research and collect data before bringing the curriculum to us for approval. And I always appreciate that from them. So I like their presentation and the little weird dirt experiment. Oh, you wanted to stir the dirt too? Mine had a stick in it.
Any other?
To the chair.
Yes.
It's just refreshing to have schools come in with solutions.
Yeah.
You know, we get these schools that come in, unfortunately, sometimes just the information. Things are bad, see you next year. You know, so it's really good to see we have some schools coming in that are like, look, it's messed up or it's getting better, this is what we're doing, this is what we want to do to get the ceiling higher. So, I mean, I really appreciate that because, you know, I'm so tired of hearing COVID happening as the solution, you know, as the issue. It's like something different is going on now, so I'm really happy about that. Some solutions, curriculum change, things like that, so.
Yeah, that's good.
It was also nice to see their numbers are going up. They're
Yeah.
not quite at the county and the state yet, but they're at least moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good. Anyone else?
Opportunities for improvement for the board's processes this evening?
To the chair?
Yes.
I think we can improve when we have deltas as a board, that we revisit them and come up with a solution, because that's the whole idea of doing the plus delta. How can we better and change? We never revisit our deltas, and I think, why do we do that as a board if we don't have the time or put the commitment into coming up with solutions for some of our deltas?
Okay. Anyone else? Well,
Back to you, Madam President.
if there's nothing further that comes before this board, I adjourn it at 8:07.